Hey, Greg, DIY Urban Home Camper's Life. New project. Yeah. So here in our trailer, this is our pantry. Let me turn off my light. That's kind of, there we go. And if we open up the pantry, it's kind of packed. It's kind of dark. I've got some lights that I can turn on remotely. They're battery operated. Of course, this one's not lit up. Top one's not lit up. And I'm the one that forgets to turn it off. They don't automatically go off. So then we come back around and batteries are dead or what. So I've come up with a solution. We are done with those. Now we do use those other places, so we're going to still keep them. But what I did is I went out and got this set of, and they actually call it truck bed lights from Xprite off of Amazon. Let me grab. It is a set of 3 LEDs per section. There's 8 of them that come total with it, so there's 4 strings of this actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, this one will go like right here. I'm going to put them up back here. I'm going to run a wire going all the way down, and so that the bonehead, me, doesn't forget to turn them off when I close the door, I've actually got a set of magnetic switches. So when I close the door, they'll go off. When I open it, it'll come back on. Should be a fairly easy project. Of course, these are wired in series. So I'm going to have to cut the end off and then do some soldering to the main wire so we can run that from top to bottom. So hope you enjoy this project. It's got some soldering, it's got some heat shrink tubing, it's got some drilling, it's got some maybe duct taping, I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, let's jump right into it. All right, first thing to do, get her unloaded. Get that pantry unloaded, clear everything out of it. And once that is cleared, now I'm going to go ahead and get to my distribution panel. Took the cover off, pulled it out. Now I am running a pair of wires to where the switch is going to be. And go ahead and cut that long, and then go ahead and pull the wires apart so I can have one come inside the distribution panel. And I'm just going to feed it in with the other wires that come in after I put a ferrule on it, on the end. That way the wires don't get all frayed out when it's being connected. And just so you know, yes, I do have power to my trailer going. I'm working on the DC side. I'm very comfortable with what I'm doing. If you are not comfortable with it, please disconnect your batteries. Make sure everything is unplugged before you do anything with your electrical. Right down here is a ground bus bar that is located behind the distribution panel, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and tap that ground in. And once that's done, now I can go ahead and just get my distribution panel put back together. That way I'm not having to work around that, and keep it safe. Now that wire right there is not live. The fuse is out of the slot that I tapped into. Now I have a Forstner bit that I'm actually using. You can use a drill bit or whatever you want, big enough for the connectors on the wires on the lights to go through. Just kind of do a little cleaning up there, and there's the holes as we go down and we'll take a look. Now time to build those wires. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the one end off that I'm going to be able to reuse. I'm using some heat shrink tubing just to make sure that they are isolated. I split the wires, made sure that they're not going to connect each other. Put some heat shrink tube on both of them. Now once I've got those two heat shrink tubes on, I'm now taking a piece of black heat shrink tube, put over both of those, and that's just to make it look a little bit better and also keep those wires together. So here they have a hole in the LED lights for you to mount one of these screws that they supply with it. Along with, on the back side, you have some 3M double-sided adhesive tape. Now we're going to go ahead and take and remove the adhesive, make sure it is centered, press that on there, and I'm using a 1/16 inch drill bit to partially drill through. I don't want to go all the way, and then I'm going to go ahead and put those little screws in. Be very, very careful. They're not the most stout. You can easily strip them. Here you can see that I've run the other ones on the inside of the trim, and they're all placed. So now once we've got those lights in place, we can figure out where on the long wire we want to put these connectors. And what we're going to do is go ahead and measure out. I see where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and actually cut the long lead wire, strip it off, and then I'm going to solder those together, and then I will resolder that back into the line. Of course, I'm going to be adding heat shrink tubing on it to protect the wires also. But here I just used some soldering flux, dab on there, and then real quick, it didn't take too much to put a little bit of solder on them. Once I got that soldered, I went ahead and slipped the heat shrink tubing over the bare wires, and then once I had those shrunk all the way down, went ahead and took another piece, larger size heat shrink tubing, put that over everything, and then shrunk that down to make a nice connection there. Yes, all I had was red in that size, so I've got some red heat shrink tube on it. Not a big deal, but as you can see, did it all the way down. Next, we're going to go ahead and start putting that wire in place. Starting to run it, and I hooked up the first LED light at the top, and then I started pulling the wire down. And it worked out really nice to where I didn't have excessive wire that I was trying to hide or wrap up or anything like that. It all fit really straight. And duct tape, well, Gorilla Tape. I'm using this instead of trying to put any type of tacks or clips or anything like that in there. One of the other tricks I would use is silicone, but this Gorilla Tape holds really, really well. I don't see an issue with that being a problem ever coming loose. So now what I'm doing is I'm just figuring out the length that I want the wires to be, and I'm going to be soldering again the ground wire together, and then using some more heat shrink tubing over that. Once that is done and the heat shrink tubing shrunk down, it is now going to be time to work on making the access hole for the wires to come through the little panel there. Make sure that fits right. And once that is done, I can go ahead and hook up the switch. Now this switch right here has 3 terminals on it, a common, a normally closed, and a normally open. For us, we are going to go with normally open, NO, and common. So that means that once the door is closed, the light is going to be off. Alright, so I've cut the wires down, connecting them up to the switch. I haven't attached it yet, I'm just putting it in place because I want to test it. And I'm going to go ahead and put the fuse into the panel. And I've also got the other side of the switch in place to have it turned off. And as I pull away, you can see the light flash. So it is working. And just kind of panning up, just looking at the different ones, making sure that they're all working. Now that we've got it working, go ahead and attach screws to finish attaching that in place. as you can see, the light is flickering off and on while I'm doing that, is because there's a magnet on the tip of that screwdriver, and that is actually causing the lights to come on and off. Initially I thought there might have been a problem. So next I figured out where I needed the other side of the switch to be on the door, just by measuring, and went ahead and screwed those in. And again, like I say, be careful with those screws. I ended up stripping the head on these screws. Luckily, didn't have to do anything. As you can see right there, I just had to adjust it a little bit, made sure it was going to work. But I've got it done. Want to check it out? Yeah, you do. I know you do. You're still here. You want to check it out? All right, here we go. Well, kind of got some cleanup to do. Hopefully before the wife gets home, she ain't gonna be happy. Yeah, she will. She'll like this. I'll have that cleaned up before too long. All right, so let's take a look at this. Door's closed, and here we go. Oh, there it is. Lights are on. Lights are off. On, off. That way I don't forget to turn them off. Run the batteries down. Okay, let's come in and take a look at it. Now you can see I've got the wires run up here. And I might possibly come in and put some more protection on it. We use these storage little baskets right here. Boxes for our stuff. So, I mean, it's really going to be protected. Right here, this is because this is a shelf I added on, and I don't have any more of this material or any of this material left. So I stuck the light just on the bottom of this, and it was blinding. So basically that's just a diffuser right there. You can see where the old lights used to be. I'm going to take those off in a minute, but down there is the switch. And you can see it doesn't have to be perfect, just within the area. It's all on magnet, and this is the magnet right here. So there it is, and I think it's going to be adequate for lighting. I'm going to go ahead and get this loaded back up, and we'll see where it's at. Anyways, I think it's pretty cool, pretty neat, easy project. I just came in, and I was actually right next to my distribution, so I actually added to an empty circuit right here. So I'll label that out when I get done. That is going to be for the pantry, and just ran the wire right over here, attached in here, and then came up, and I just drilled through each one of the shelves all the way up. You'll see where I'm doing the custom cutting and soldering of this kit right here, which is the Xprite Glow FX3 series, and is actually the white. It's the black right here, but it's just a white light. It did come with the toggle switch. I didn't need that. And I still got 3 more of these LEDs that I can use elsewhere. So anyways, I gotta get busy. Looks like I got a text coming in, and get this thing cleaned up, hopefully before the wife gets home. If you guys liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, share. Until the next one, happy camping.